In the shadowy depths of a bustling metropolis, where power changed hands in the dead of night, and the air hummed with the secrets of 1,000 unsolved mysteries, a name emerged from the darkness: Cassandra Cassie Moretti. To those who crossed her, she was the Crimson Queen. Cassie was no ordinary woman. Born in the gritty underbelly of Belladonna City, she was the youngest child of Giovanni Moretti, a small-time bookie with big dreams and dangerous enemies. Her mother, Elena, was a woman of grace and wisdom who shielded her children from their father's dangerous world. But fate had its own plans. At 16, Cassie's life changed forever. A deal gone wrong ended in bloodshed, leaving her parents dead and her older brother, Marco, at the mercy of the city's most notorious crime syndicate, the Black Serpents. Left with nothing but her wits and an insatiable hunger for vengeance, Cassie vowed to take control of the very world that had torn her family apart. Cassie's ascent began in the smoky backrooms of Belladonna's underground casinos. She was a natural strategist, outwitting seasoned gamblers and mobsters alike. Her sharp tongue and magnetic charm earned her allies, while her ruthless efficiency silenced her doubters. But as she climbed the ranks, strange and unexplainable things began to happen. Rumors spread of ghostly figures lurking in the shadows of her establishments. Employees whispered of eerie voices in empty hallways and flickering lights that seemed to follow Cassie wherever she went. Some said the spirits of those who had died in her rise to power haunted her, their vengeful eyes watching her every move. By the age of 25, Cassie had built her own empire, an intricate network of informants, enforcers, and businesses that rivaled the Black Serpents. But the whispers of the supernatural only grew louder. Cassie's reign was unlike any other. She ruled with an iron fist wrapped in velvet. For every act of violence, there was an act of calculated generosity. She funded schools in impoverished neighborhoods, provided protection to struggling businesses, and became a patron of the arts. To the public, she was a controversial figure, a criminal with a conscience. But the horrors of her past refused to stay buried. Nightmares plagued her sleep, visions of blood-soaked hands reaching for her, of her parents' lifeless faces staring up from the darkness. Her signature crimson dress became a symbol not only of her power, but also of the unseen forces that seemed to cling to her. Doors would slam shut without warning, shadows twisted into unnatural shapes, and the feeling of being watched became a constant companion. Her inner circle began to notice the changes. Sophia the Oracle Martinez, a brilliant hacker who could infiltrate any system, swore she saw a pale figure standing behind Cassie during a meeting, only to vanish when she blinked. Luca, the ghost Bellini, a master of disguise and stealth, refused to enter Cassie's mansion after hearing disembodied whispers calling his name. Dante Inferno Ricci, a former boxer with a knack for brute force, found claw marks on the walls of his office that no human could have made. Cassie dismissed their fears, though her own doubts grew with each passing day. She buried herself in work, using her strategic mind to turn every threat into an opportunity, every enemy into a pawn. But the supernatural forces surrounding her were growing bolder. Cassie's carefully constructed world faced its greatest challenge when a mysterious figure known only as the Revenant began targeting her operations. Warehouses burned, informants disappeared, and whispers of betrayal spread like wildfire. The Revenant's message was clear. The Crimson Queen's reign must end. As Cassie dug deeper, the trail led her to an abandoned asylum on the outskirts of Belladonna City. The asylum had been the site of unspeakable horrors, a place where the screams of the forgotten echoed through the crumbling halls. It was said that anyone who entered never returned. Determined to uncover the truth, Cassie and her inner circle ventured into the asylum. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the walls seemed to pulse with a life of their own. Shadows moved where there was no light, and the sound of footsteps echoed behind them though no one was there. Sophia's voice trembled as she whispered, "This place isn't right." Cassie pressed forward, her resolve unshaken. In the heart of the asylum, they found a room filled with old photographs and news clippings. At the center was a picture of Cassie's family, taken years before the tragedy. Written in blood-red ink were the words, "The sins of the past will not be forgiven." A sudden scream pierced the air, and the group was plunged into chaos. Lights flickered, and an otherworldly howl echoed through the halls. One by one, Cassie's allies were separated from her, their shouts swallowed by the darkness. Alone, she came face to face with the Revenant, a twisted, spectral figure with eyes like burning coals. The Revenant's voice was a chilling blend of rage and sorrow. "You cannot escape what you've done, Cassandra." Cassie's hands trembled as she held her weapon. "Who are you?" The figure stepped closer, and recognition dawned. It was Marco, her long-lost brother. But he was no longer human. Twisted by his hatred and the horrors he had endured, Marco had become something far darker. "You became the monster, Cassie," he snarled. "And now you'll pay the price." Their battle was a clash of wills and strength, with the asylum itself seeming to come alive to aid Marco. Cassie fought with everything she had, the memories of her parents and her own guilt fueling her determination. In the end, she managed to subdue Marco, but at a terrible cost. Cassie emerged from the asylum changed. Her allies were gone, her empire in shambles, and the supernatural forces that had haunted her seemed to have taken a part of her soul. But she refused to give up. She restructured her operations, focusing on legitimate businesses and using her influence to clean up Belladonna City. The Crimson Queen became a legend, a woman who rose from tragedy to wield unmatched power, and who, despite her flaws, faced the darkness within and without. The shadows continued to whisper her name, not with fear, but with awe and terror. Cassandra Moretti, the Crimson Queen, the woman who turned the tide of destiny, remained a beacon of resilience in a world shrouded in horror.